Hi everyone, welcome to the latest episode of RE/MAX INTEGRA Live. I'm Andrew Foliato, one of the training specialists here with RE/MAX INTEGRA, and I'm based out of Mississauga or Toronto if you're from outside the area. We've got a pretty exciting show today. First up, I'd like to introduce our other host, Chrissy, so I'll let Chrissy introduce herself.
Thanks, Andrew. I'm Chrissy Roglin, and I am also a training specialist with RE/MAX INTEGRA. I'm located in Bloomington, Minnesota, and I support Minnesota and most of Wisconsin, so that's me.
Sounds good. And then we got a couple of great guests today, so I'm going to read their introduction, so forgive me for reading off the paper. First up, we got Brady Thrasher. He's a 28-year-old sales representative who focuses on resale sales in the Windsor, Ontario market. He just completed his third year in the business and closed just over 100 units in 2014 himself with no team and no assistant. Brady was recognized as one of the top 30 under 30 across the RE/MAX Ontario Atlantic network for his sales achievements. Brady is happily married to his wife Jessica, and they have a 1-year-old baby boy, Braxton. So why don't you say hi, Brady?
How you doing, guys? Thank you for having me today.
Great. And if someone had a referral for you, where would they send it to?
You can get in touch with me on Facebook. Just look up Brady Thrasher. I put my sign in the back so you can page me through my office or my email, brady@bradythrasher.com.
Perfect. Sounds good. And our other guest is Shannon Brooks. Shannon works with RE/MAX Preferred and has been a part of the real estate industry since 2001. She has a background in commercial sales, real estate title, real estate franchise management, and is currently in residential sales. She joined RE/MAX Preferred in April of 2014. Shannon's first 6 months selling residential real estate, she sold over $4 million in volume. She contributes most of her success to being visible on social media and understanding her target market. Welcome, Shannon.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Great. So if people have referrals for you, where can they send them?
You can also look me up on Facebook under Shannon Brooks, or you can send me an email at shannonbrooks@remax.net.
Perfect. So today, before I get started with today's episode, I just want to remind everyone, RE/MAX INTEGRA Live on Twitter. If you have questions you'd like to have answered live on air by any of the guests or myself or Chrissy, you can use the hashtag RILive. You can see it in my name underneath. Just type that in. I'm monitoring it as we go, so you can have your questions answered live. Otherwise, let's get started. Today's topic is selling to millennials. So we'll just get started by explaining what a millennial is. So we'll start with Brady. How would you define millennials?
Millennials, to me, anybody in early adulthood, I believe. But that's basically the core of my business. I'm, in my late 20s, and I think that I'm a millennial. I think everybody that is on the panel today is a millennial. So that's my core business right now, is dealing with first-time and second-time home buyers. So I think it's just somebody who's in young adulthood.
And what do you find is most important to them?
Most important to them is a lot of people I deal with that have busy schedules, so I'm finding that they want to walk into a home and have no obligations to cosmetically update a home. So they'll go in and they'll basically be attracted to a home with nice lipstick on it, not necessarily a new build home, but something that has been revived or renovated. So that's what I'm finding, at least, in something that can offer good amenities. Good internet connection is huge because, as you know, we're connected to our smartphones 24/7. So I'm seeing that, and then within good school systems as well.
Good point. How about you, Shannon? What do you find is most important to millennials?
I agree with Brady. I think, but one of the things that I've found is that communication is really important. Not necessarily on the phone, but you need to be accessible a lot to them. They like to communicate via text. I've had them communicate via Facebook, things like that. I think if you can be available to them at all times, it's really important to them.
Yeah.
That's true. I've had one time I had a client who I tried calling him. He didn't pick up, went straight to voicemail, and I got an immediate text back saying, hey, let's just talk over text. I don't want to talk on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I find that quite frequently, that I don't actually talk to them until I meet them at a property.
Yeah. I've had that same experience. So how do you find, in general, we'll start with Shane on this one, how do you find they're different than the older generations?
I would agree again with the communication. The biggest thing that I notice is that they seem to already be aware of what's on the market. They were more of, a facilitator. They kind of do all the research beforehand. They know a lot about what's going on in the market. They're just a little bit more educated. They find their homes online. You have to be able to communicate with them through online systems, know what's on the market with them. I think that's a big difference.
Yeah. How about you, Brady? Do you find the same thing?
Yeah, definitely. Anytime I meet somebody who is a millennial, I try to offer them as much as I can because it's like an audition. If they're not impressed with you, or if they have some sort of feeling about you, or if you don't have added value, they'll be shopping with 10 other realtors. So the buyer agency agreement is good, but it's not something I try to get, the first day that I meet them. We have a system through our board that is an automatic email system. I'm sure that you guys have it too, that every time you meet a buyer, you find out their parameters, their price range, and what they're looking for. You set that up, and then each day, whenever a new listing comes up, they get it before it goes on MLS. So what I did is I created a separate web page that I can direct traffic there, and it was a tool I was marketing for buyers only. Free, no obligation, because that's what buyers like, especially young buyers. They don't like being pressured. So a lot of times people were curious when I meet them at open houses. They would say, everything that I see that goes on MLS will sell right away. And I offer them the advantage. I would say, you get signed up on this. You don't have to deal with me, but I'll make sure that you see the product before it goes on MLS. They want somebody who's committed 24/7 and can deal with them through text, late night conversations, Skype, email, phone calls, whatever. So it is a 24/7 gig, and they are very demanding. And as far as even personal life, I try not to even show anything going on as far as my personal life that will make them think that I don't have enough time for them.
Yeah. I hear that a lot of agents always try to be busy, busy, busy.
Oh, yeah.
They always try to show that they're busy, and then I know, I have a lot of friends, kind of obviously in the millennial age, who say, "Oh, I don't want to contact someone. They always seem too busy for my business."
That's a scary thing.
Yeah, they never actually want that. And then on that side, how do you actually feel that they're the same as older generation? What hasn't changed with millennials versus older ones?
I guess I would say the information. They want you to be knowledgeable. They want you to still be the expert, even though that they want to rely on you and expect you to kind of facilitate the process. We send out several the process, letting on what's coming to expect. We make sure that we introduce to our vendors right away, loan officers, and that they're comfortable with them. They also have to Google, text message, email, otherwise they get frustrated. They're always on computers and things like that. And so that's where I think they're kind of.
That makes sense. So it sounds like we're having a bit of audio issues there. So hopefully that will kind of take care of themselves as we go on. I don't know if that's happening for anyone else, but if we are, we're going to try and get those worked out. We could hear most of what Shannon was saying, but it sounds like a few things got cut out there, unfortunately. That happens sometimes with the internet connections. They're not always the quickest.
That's right.
How about you, Brady? How do you feel that they're the same as older generations?
You know what? I deal with a lot of consumers that confide in their parents and the more mature generation. So anything that you're dealing with and the parents are involved, you usually hear a lot of questions that wouldn't be familiar when you're just dealing with a consumer one-on-one who's younger. The younger generations, in my opinion, they just want to know some of the facts about the property. When the parents come in, they're going to want to know. They'll educate the kids, so the kids are even more savvy, more than they would be using the internet and finding their own product. As far as other trends that I see that are basically the same is, to me, there's so many. Even the older generations right now, they're more savvy online. So they're going out, they're finding their product, and if you don't have your ear to the ground in your marketplace, they have a way of locating products sometimes before you do, which is pretty scary too, because you don't want to cut yourself out of a job, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. You got to be quicker than they are. I know that's one thing, especially when I was dealing with millennials, was always they don't want to be seen as you behind the set. So if you don't have to necessarily be the most techie guy out there, but they don't have to teach you anything.
Right, exactly. All right, we talked a lot about communication kind of already, and the importance of that quick communication. And so Brady, I was wondering, what do you find is the most effective way to communicate with them?
For millennials, the most effective way to me is if I get a lead right away, I try to convert it into, I like a phone call, but if I'm tied up, I'll at least send a text message and I'll follow up with a phone call after. And I really try to get in front of them within even a day or two, because that way, if there's not a connection, if there's just text messaging, then I feel like I run into a barrier where people don't take the service seriously yet, unless you commit to a time in a day where you actually sit down with them and understand what it is they need face to face. So communication-wise, I'll use any outlet that's available to me that they can also utilize, which is best for them, because people are working each day and they have obligations. But I prefer to get in front of them and have the privilege of actually sitting down and understanding and learning about them.
Okay. Great, great. And Shannon, how about you? What do you find is the most effective way to communicate?
You know, I think it kind of depends on how they come in. If they're a website lead, I try to communicate with them on that site. Sometimes I'll get a text message. You know, this morning I got one, and we communicated through that. I do think they expect more of an immediate response. If you aren't the first one to contact them or call them, they've already probably talked to 5 people. So it's really important to be on top of it right away. We then put them in an email drip, so they're constantly, you know, communicating with us or feel as if they are communicating with us.
That's a really good point. We hear that a lot about that instant communication. When they send in a question or fill out a form, it's like they want something kind of instant back. So how do you handle that maybe when you're out talking with other clients? What is the way that you approach that kind of situation? Because I hear that's a challenge for a lot of agents is, you know, they get the text message, but they can't respond right at that time. Do you do anything special with that?
I use a system called Conversion. It's a kind of a lead platform, and it communicates with them immediately if I'm not available. So if a text comes in, they get kind of a generic text, thanks for texting me. I'll be right with you shortly. I'm with other clients. So it's a really great site that I use. The drip campaigns are excellent. I definitely recommend it.
Good, good.
And it's Conversion with a K.
Is that it's C-U-N or K-U-N, I mean?
Yep, K-U-N. Yep.
Yeah.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, you'll like it. It's a great platform that has everything from blogging to a search site. If you go to searchforhomesminnesota.com, that entire platform of mine is run through Conversion. Wow. There's live chats. So if somebody starts chatting at 1 in the morning, there's somebody that comes on and chats with them, and then it texts me the chat. So right away in the morning when I get up, I can follow up with them.
And you get leads, like people are actually messaging the chat?
Yep, constantly. Wow.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who are using chat successfully. There's a few other ones I've heard of too. There's ReadyChat and Zopim, Z-O, or Z in the States, O-P-I-M. Those are also ones that just embeds it on your website, and then it goes right to your phone. You can also even see with a lot of them when people are on your website and what they're doing on your website. So you can open up the chat with them. So there's some good things, because a lot of people, like, especially like we mentioned, they don't think you're too busy, but if it says, oh, you're available now to chat, it's a good way to kind of get those conversations started, and also kind of off hours. You might, 10 o'clock at night, they might not want to pick up the phone and call you, but they're willing to start a conversation on your website.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I need to get that Conversion thing. I'm a sucker over here. Every time I get a text message come in, I'm like busting my butt to answer it. Wow.
So Brady, that kind of answers the question then.
Yeah, well, it's true. Like, I have my phone with me 24/7. I bring it up to my room at night, and it's always with me. So I take my communication very seriously. If somebody pages me, or if I don't answer my phone, it goes right to my office, they page me, I usually try to answer a text message right away. Even if I'm out of the phone, I'll find a way. If my phone vibrates, if I shut my house, I'll walk on the bathroom and at least look at the message. And if I can communicate back really quick, I'll even tell them, 15 minutes I'm available to call you.
Okay. Good. All right. So Shannon, at what point in the buying process do do you see that they reach out? So where are they already at?
You know, honestly, I see when they're ready to get in. They start to most of their search online. They pretty much know what they want. As soon as they start communicating with me, I try to get them set up on the MLS because sometimes it can be frustrating to them because they want to see homes that aren't on the market anymore. Still advertising some of the larger sites. So I really don't see them until we go to the house.
Okay. And Brady, how about you? When do they typically reach out to you? At what point in the stage?
Typically, I work with a lot of pillars in my business. So one may be my lenders. So I'll work with a lot of the big banks and mortgage brokers and mobile mortgage people. So I'll get pre-approved leads from them. If it's just a lead coming in, a self-source lead, I'm going to say 20. They've been pre-approved, 80% have been, 20% have no idea how to go about it. And I'm going to say probably 50% of the buyers who pay commissions are not really educated on the process. So it's pretty fresh for a lot of people who I deal with. And that's what's really exciting about dealing with people who are just new at the business and learning how to buy and sell a property.
That's a really good point. So they come in and they're not really educated. So what do you feel is kind of the most common first step questions that you get?
They're going to want to know about the closing costs. You know, they've heard about lawyers and how much lawyers cost. All they hear is that everything's better money. People usually have an idea on how much payments will be because they hear about it through people in their workspaces, and you know they'll do mortgage calculations on a bank website, but they haven't necessarily been pre-approved. They almost pre-approved themselves. So right away, if they ask anything in regards to financing, I just say, you know, there's a few professionals that I trust, and they can offer really competitive rates, and then I put them in those hands. Other than that, they need to still have an agenda where they want to be when they move. If they're building a family, I can educate them on areas that I think that are up and coming or that fit their style and price range.
Okay. Great.
Just before we keep going, I'm getting a lot of feedback that the sound's not great. If you guys maybe just try unplugging your earbuds, see if that works, because there seems to be, we're getting a lot of echo coming through. So try that and we'll see if it's better. So let's get that going. Hopefully that works. If you guys hear feedback still in the audience, can you please send me messages like you have been if it's still not working properly, and that way we know we can try something to fix it. So let's keep going with the questions and we'll see how it goes from here. So the next question, so how much do the millennials do on their own versus how much are you doing for them? We'll start with Shannon on this one.
You know, I would say they do quite a bit on their own as far as the process. They go online, homes. You know, nowadays there's virtual tours where they can do a walkthrough of the home without actually entering. So they're very you know, I agree. The hardest thing is they're not doing it. They end up defending themselves, and that is one thing that we end up a lot of who are vendors. We don't have a pre-approval letter. Even if you believe your pre-approval physical letter, we're not going to show home. So other than that, quite a bit of background on their own.
Okay. Shane, can you put your earbuds back in? It sounds like that actually made it worse. We'll try and figure out what's going on.
Is this better?
Let's wait and see. For everything to actually sound good on my end, I'm just getting a lot of messages from people.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's going to make it better now.
We need a translator.
Sign language.
I get a lot of feedback in my earphone, but not when I take them out.
Interesting.
Maybe it's my Mac. I don't know.
Possible. I don't know. It seems to be working great for mine. Everyone's saying my audio seems okay, and then it seems split on the rest of you.
Yeah.
Seems like 1 out of every single different message I get is specifically mentioning one person saying this audio is bad, and then the other one saying that one's bad. So hopefully, with the earbuds in for everyone, we can get it to work. We'll see. But let's keep going for now, and we'll see what happens. All right. So what do you find are the main expectations for you from your millennial clients? I'll start with Brady.
You have to drop everything and service them, and you can't have a life.
I second that.
I don't, and that's my problem. But it's demanding. But when you sign up for something like this, you have to be committed, and my goal is to always outdo what the competition is willing to do. So I am the one who usually ends up leaving my house at 11 o'clock at night and, you know, trying to hammer out work. As far as what they expect you to be a professional. If you're signed on and if you're noted as a top professional or a top producing agent with your firm, they want you to have all the connections. They want incentives through you. They want to know when things are coming up before they come up on the market, pocket listings and things within your brokerage. So they definitely want added value, and if they didn't get it, then they would be looking on Kijiji or searching around, because they feel if they end up going and working with an agent, the agent just sends them an email once in a while, that's not doing anything for them, because they can go online at their smartphone at work every day and just keep looking for listings, or they can sign up on an email system. So, you know, I always say knowing what goes on in the community and having these social influences who are going to give you tips on when things are occurring in the town, or if people are moving, being relocated, somebody had passed on and a property's coming up. It's always really important for me to always contact my clients. Every night when I get home, I look at all the new listings. Even if I already sent them out, I'll follow up with a text message and say, you know, the place on the 3rd concession is perfect for you. I heard there's one coming up on the 5th, but it's not going to be up for 3 weeks. I'm going to see if we can get in before it hits the market. So always showing that you have a little bit extra to offer them is kind of, you're always securing your job, in my opinion, doing that.
That's good. That's smart. I like that one. How about you, Shannon?
Yeah, you know, I would agree. I think you have to be available to them at all times. I mean, like Brady said, I answer text messages at 11 o'clock at night. I had somebody that was traveling in Amsterdam, and we talked at 2 in the morning because that's when they were available. You know, and I think another thing is that they expect me to have other professionals in my toolbox, if you will. So I recommend all the vendors to them. I tend to not really handhold, but I go through the steps with them and, you know, talk to title and schedule all the things, including their inspections and stuff like that. So that's definitely something they expect me to have and to take care of as well.
Are you sending out just one name for each one, or are you giving them a choice of people, like preferred professionals sort of idea?
I do 3 lenders, and I let them choose. I do 2 inspectors, and then I have 1 preferred title company that I use that I trust, that I feel is above all others in the Twin Cities. So.
That's good. And as a bonus, it sounds like the sound's a lot better for everyone now. What we're actually saying now, so that's good. That's what you want to find out. Get the message across. So one thing that keeps coming up, and I know this is a big thing with millennials, is about privacy. Right. Do you find that millennials don't care nearly as much about their privacy? Like, they're much more willing to share their information with you? Because I know I've had past clients who are millennials who would literally send me everything about, like, their bank stuff, even if, like, I wasn't even sending them to the mortgage person. They'd send me everything. Like, it's almost like they're trying to get pre-approved with me, and they have no problem sharing it. Where the older generations, it's a little different. They're a little more guarded with that information. So how do you find? I'll start with Brady on this.
I find any time that I do a listing or I write an offer, I have ways to get the information that I need, and I go over the privacy. But the millennials always exceed anything that I need as far as their privacy, and they are into constant contact and you know, even you having people call them, as far as some professionals in your toolbox, where if you're dealing with somebody who's bought and sold, and, you know, they might be in their 50s or 60s, they are really privy to privacy. So you almost have to be really careful. I don't want to say that, you know, I'm not careful with privacy, but with the more mature age range, they definitely know more about privacy. And the younger generation, they are more open to getting results and giving you as much as they can, so the process can be smoother for them.
So that's a good point, is to make it a lot smoother for everyone. What do you find, Shannon?
Yeah, I would agree. It is amazing what they will divulge. You know, I will get the same thing. I'll get bank statements. I'll get things that I would normally personally wouldn't share, but they don't seem to be as concerned as the older generations. That's for sure.
Now, do you find that works to your advantage on the other side if you're the listing agent trying to negotiate with buyers? Do you find that they tend to give up too much information to you?
You know, on our sides, we only deal with the buyer's agents, and they're usually pretty good at, you know, respecting the privacy laws. But I will say sometimes if clients meet, they tend to talk too much. So trying to get them to not run into each other, whether it's at open houses or when they're measuring blinds, trying to get clients out of the house, they tend to just keep talking. And I've had clients come back and go, "Oh, well, I didn't know this." Well, you wouldn't know that. We can't talk about that. So.
You always want to keep them separated as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Brady? Do you find that you ever have any issues with that, or does it work to your benefit at all when they share too much from the other side, if they're like unrepresented?
Not really. Like, you almost have to cut yourself in half, and you are providing them some sort of obviously ethical duty, even if they're not a client, if they're a customer. So it's like multiple representation I take very seriously. Even if I'm working with somebody who's a private seller, you never want to give somebody the impression that you're going to take advantage of them. So, you know, when you're in a situation like that, you usually have your buyers prepare what they feel is the best for their situation, obviously giving them as much data as you can and influencing your professional opinion. And then when you have to work with the seller in the same situation, you also have to provide them with all the data, and hopefully everything is justified and all parties are getting a fair shake. So I've never really seen it work in my benefit, but you know, like Shannon said, there's definitely times where you go in and you're measuring or you're doing a final walkthrough, and they'll hear something about the situation. If it's a marriage breakdown, and they'll say, well, if I would have known that, then we could have went in, you know, 10 grand less, or, you know. So privacy, the only time they usually hear stuff is when the buyers and sellers get to cross paths, is where things can be volatile. Our job is to be a mediator and to represent people. And, you know, when there's some factors and variables that are discussed when they cross paths, that is sometimes where the deals can be derailed or they can become a challenge. That's when the personalities get involved.
Okay. All right, so Brady, do you change your marketing at all in regards to tailoring it to millennials? Do you do anything different in regards to your marketing?
I don't change my marketing. My marketing is pretty aggressive and diverse. If I'm meeting a millennial, then I'll make them feel at home. Like, my goal is to always adapt to my audience, right? So if I'm meeting a millennial, I just let them know that obviously I'm on the same playing field as them. I'm a young professional, and you know, I educate them on the tools and the benefits of working with somebody like myself. And I think that they usually find value in that. It's not really a catered marketing plan for each different age range or anything. It's just you adapt. I have a pretty generic marketing plan as far as what I implement on specific properties. And if I'm working with a buyer, it doesn't change as far as like my marketing plan or how I market them or find them properties. It's just hopefully they see what I'm all about and they believe in me as a person.
Have you seen anything that works really well or anything that doesn't work with that?
Yeah, things I would think that work very well is 24-hour service and having them have access to your personal line. A lot of people in the industry sometimes block their number, which I personally don't do that. I call and text nonstop. Things that don't work, well, being pushy doesn't work. That's what, you know, I've always seen people not successful at how they handle business. But yeah, I can't think of anything that really doesn't work that I've personally tried to implement. It's been a bust. I haven't really had anything like that. I'm really social as far as my online presence. I focus on that a lot. but I haven't had anything really not go together as far as the things that I utilize.
Okay, great. Shannon, how about you? Do you do anything specific in your marketing?
You know, I really don't. I'm the same as Brady. I cater. My marketing plan is the same throughout, so I don't really change anything. I also am very active on social media. I try to do, I have a thing where it's like I do 4 personal things to 1 business because I don't want to inundate them with only business. I want them to see that I am also a normal person, and I go out and I have a family, so they can relate to me. So that's pretty much how I cater to them, is really through my social media sites.
That's good.
Good. So Andrew, the echo's back.
Yeah, it sounds like some people are saying there's an echo back, so if anyone changed anything in the last 10 minutes, change it back.
The way you're sitting, maybe? We all need to back up just a little bit. Yeah, get really...
That could be it too. If you're leaning in too much, it might be an issue.
So sit across the room.
Yeah. Stand up, that power pose while you're doing it. So hopefully standing back a bit will help. We'll see. Not too much at this point we can do about the sound echo if it comes back, so hopefully it's not too bad for the people listening. I can't hear it on my end, so I'm not sure where it's coming from.
It's probably coming from you then. You can't hear it, so it's all you.
It's possible.
I can hear the echo. I can definitely hear it in mine. So I'm thinking it's fine. Sorry. All
right. We'll continue on. We'll press forward.
Yeah.
All right. So Shannon, one more question for you. Do you find that they want to work with an agent when they contact you? They're really excited to work with an agent, or you just feel like maybe they have to work with an agent, or based on their knowledge of the process?
No, I don't ever feel like they feel they have to work with an agent. I think that they're all professionals as well, and they want to work with somebody who's experienced professional, and they really trust in my knowledge and ask me questions, and I never feel like I'm a burden. Or I think it's really important to give your value up front. I know Brady had said that earlier on, because as soon as you establish that, then they tend to look at you as a resource, and they trust what you're saying and the process that you're going through with them. So I make sure up front I know exactly what they're looking for, how I can help them. We have a lot of different emails that we send out through the process that kind of go through why they chose us and how we're going to help them, things like that. And it tends to alleviate any questions they have going through the process.
Great information. Brady, how about you? Do you find that when they come to you, they're ready to work with an agent, or they just feel like they need to work with an agent based on their knowledge of the process?
Depending on the stage that I meet them, like I do a lot of open houses and prospecting through that area, so necessarily they're not working with anybody, they're just shopping. It's like walking through a clothing store, they don't want help. But you just try to offer them as many free, no obligation tools and resources as possible. Hopefully you can secure their trust that way. As far as people that I meet through online ads or some of the lead conversions I get from my website or lead generation, I find that a lot of people at that stage, they're either working with a realtor, or yes, they're searching for a realtor or trying to contact you as a sales representative. That's what I see.
Great. So do you guys find that when you're working with kind of the younger demographic that they require more hand-holding than the older generations, or do you find that it's about the same as you would with any other? We'll start with Shannon.
I don't know. I mean, hand-holding is a little difficult of a question, I guess, for me. I don't feel like they need me to hold their hand. However, they do expect me to take charge of the process and go through things with them. Again, I said this earlier, scheduling anything from their inspections to, title, maybe refer them a vendor, like a lender or something like that. But I really think they're very knowledgeable. Because of the internet and things like that, they know the process. They know what's going on. Again, they'll bring their parents in who have done it in the past. So I don't feel like I have to hold their hands through the process. I just am there as, again, the real estate professional to answer any questions they may have. and go through it with them, not really hold their hand.
That's good. Yeah, it was similar to the experiences I was having when I was targeting, because I targeted first-time buyers a lot. How about you, Brady?
I find, usually if I'm dealing with somebody who's in a more mature age range, opposed to the millennials, it's the same thing in my opinion as far as the amount of time you're going to be putting in. I think with young professionals who I deal with, they get things done quicker. They do not procrastinate. They want to see things right away, and they communicate really quick. The more mature age range, they'll send an email with 50 questions, and then they'll want to see the home in a week. So the process is a little bit longer, I would say, for those people, but they do the due diligence ahead of time so they can close quicker and pull the trigger quicker, where first-time home buyers or millennials, you'll end up getting them on a contract, but then through your due diligence, you'll end up probably renegotiating, doing price abatements after the inspection, or they might end up doing a mutual release because they'll find out something about the area that they didn't know before they wrote the offer. So I think it's just a different mindset. The people who have already done it before, they've jumped the rope, so they already know the process and what to look for. They've had bad experiences. They know what they like and dislike about floor plans or neighboring properties or nearby commercial or industrial areas. First-time home buyers, they really don't. They can confide in their parents, but usually the parents don't come in until the offer is already drafted up.
Makes sense. So that seems similar to what I experienced as well. Do you find that they fact check a lot of what you tell them? So like no matter what you tell them, they'll actually go and check it somewhere else to confirm it? Do you find that, Brady?
Not with the millennials. I find that with people who have done it a few times that are a little bit older. Millennials, they really don't do a lot of fact checking. They take what you say and they trust it because it's so fresh to them. It's like doing their taxes. They don't understand it. It's not what they do every day if they're not a tax professional. So they won't go through all the numbers and understand how you save them money or how you do certain things. They just want to see results. And if you show them value, they fully trust you.
That's good. Are you finding the same thing, Shannon?
Exactly the same thing. I agree. As long as you show them the value, then they trust you. I have not honestly run into them double checking or fact checking anything that I've done.
Well, that's good. So there's a lot of marketing experts out there that say the most important thing to millennials in your marketing, especially on like social media, is authenticity. Have you found that that's true, Shannon?
I'm sorry, it was cutting out.
Okay. So a lot of marketing experts say that one of the most important things to millennials in your marketing, especially on social media, is how authentic you are. Do you find that that's true in there?
Absolutely. I think that they're looking for somebody who's honest and authentic, and if you give that presence online and when you're speaking with them, disclose everything and be completely honest, I definitely think that's something that's very important to them. Because in the world that we're in now, they can fact check if they choose to, and they'll be able to find everything out. And it is our job to be as honest with them and disclose as much as we can.
Good. How about you, Brady? Do you find the same thing?
Yeah, I see that with social media now, they will even check into the type of person you are. So Shannon was saying that she'll do, I think it was 1 to 3 ratio on how she'll put anything about her personal life, and then everything else would be business. So I think it's important to have a blend of that so people can understand that you're actually a real person. You're not just nonstop just trying to close deals. Showing personal life and then having that, you want even your friends and family to see that it's not just about work. You're still having fun. You're attending things. You're spending time with your family. So I do, my marketing online is kind of the same thing. I will do a mix of things. I don't put too much personal stuff just because I promote my Facebook a lot and I have followers who I don't know, so I don't want to put too much personal stuff up. But and I find that authenticity, they'll also want to know who you associate with and what you've done in the past. So I'm from a small town, so people will know, what high school you went to, who you hung out with, and they'll see who are on your photos with your social media and the things that you're up to socially. So it's very important that they're going to want to deal with somebody that they can fully trust, and your character is broadcasted on the pages of Google and all social media. So it's very easy to do a background check on this.
I was going to ask this question later, but it kind of goes in well with what you were just saying. So especially since, the younger generations have been on Facebook and things like that for a long time. Like I know I've been on Facebook over 10 years, and a lot of that was through university when the public wasn't allowed on. So there's maybe things on there that you will want other people to see. Do you keep separate social accounts, like one that's more personal and one that's professional, or you only have one?
I only have one. To me, I think that it's important to only have one, because if you have two, I feel like you have something to hide. That's just my own personal opinion. Not the way, but I think we're trying to be as transparent as possible. And if there's something you don't feel you can put on one page, maybe you shouldn't be putting it on the other. And that's just kind of how I feel. So I have one page, and I am kind of a little bit opposite of Brady. I'm the worst kind of Facebooker. I put everything on there. my broker actually teaches me quite a bit about it. I just think you should have one account and be as honest and transparent as you can. I mean, be appropriate and professional, but be very honest and transparent. So.
Brady, do you have one or two accounts?
I was in promotions before, so my one account is like maxed out. So there's a lot of people that I don't know personally on there. That's what I use for a lot of my social and viral impressions. So when I put new listings up, I can always count on 5,000 impressions, potential impressions. And then I have a business page that I utilize. Again, I try to focus that one just on my business and community-oriented things. I don't put my personal life on that. And then I do have one that I don't have any photos up at all. It's just friends and family, just for timeline purposes. Because the stuff that, if I go on the big account that I have, that I've always had, the timeline is just insane to me. So I'm not really online looking through timelines. I'm more of a like Instagram, scrolling, I think, more than anything. Facebook is kind of killed it for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way with mine. So like I have two accounts actually, and my original one, I guess, I almost never post on it, if ever. But it's just that's where all my friends and family are on. But because being really public on the other one, you got the end of the feed and getting really busy. You almost never see your friends and family, the updates from them. That's why I originally had two.
Right.
Can I ask a question? Brady, do you have a business account? Because I have a business account, and I don't seem to get a lot of traction on it, but I get a lot more on my personal account. I'm curious to see if you get more through your business account.
I get more from my personal account.
Okay.
Because I still do post things on there. My business page, I don't have them synced, so my business page is a lot of the activity that I'm doing, my new listings.
Okay.
And my other profile has some personal stuff in it. I have family photos and my wedding and things like that. So people naturally see me on the timeline, and if they think of me, they'll probably send me a message directly there. But my business page is pretty strong. I got 2,300 likes on it, and I probably I get a lot of impressions and a lot of interactions through it. So it's been really positive for the business side.
Good. Thank you.
Maybe we'll have to have you back on for the Generating Business Through Facebook episode in October.
That's my cup of tea.
So a little promo there.
There we go. I'll take it. Yeah.
Sounds good. So one more question here. Actually, we have a few more, but after this one, I'll get Chrissy to go on. Based on your experience, what do you find is the single most important thing an agent could do to attract millennial clients? Or did I already ask that one? No? All right, Shannon, what do you find?
I think that the social media presence is the biggest thing that I've found. Through attracting more people. I get quite a bit of business from my personal Facebook page. It seems like the majority of them are millennials. I also, once I start to get into contact with them, I know we've talked about this before, but I let them know that I'm always available, and that makes a big difference.
That's good. How about you, Brady?
What was the question again? I apologize.
No problem. So you had to say, what was the most valuable thing you could do to track millennial clients? What would it be?
Social media is by far the number one, but gaining credibility is something that I've had to do. When I first got into business, I was 25 or 24. So showing people that they can trust me with that type of transaction and the biggest investment in their lives, I basically was trying to work alongside of big business throughout my marketplace to cross promote who would see value in being exposed with my social media. So I did a lot of business to business marketing, cross promotion, social events, um, things like that people would see, billboards up with me or magazines and say, okay, the guy's actually selling homes, he's doing well. So I needed some form of indicators that would show people that this person is progressing and he's actually a force in the industry. And the social media is just like a catcher's mitt for leads because I find that a lot of people, they're online, they're asking questions, they're posting that they need a realtor. So having the people a part of your social sphere, they'll tag you in those posts when they see that somebody's looking at buying or selling, that you'll be acknowledged and recommended by a lot of your friends because they see that you're always out. You're not just on social media, but you might be out in the community or working with charities or marketing yourself, in print ad and different things throughout the marketplace.
Great. And before we get to the next question, just a quick reminder for everybody, everybody listening in, if you have any questions whatsoever, you can go to Twitter and hashtag RILive to ask questions. So with that, we're going to go to our next question, which is kind of back along the lines of social media. I actually got this question from an agent when I was out in an office last week, and I thought, since we're talking about it, it's very appropriate. We talked a lot about Facebook. Instagram was mentioned. Is there any other social media platform or tool that you find really valuable besides Facebook? Is there something, do you still see a lot of millennials through Facebook? I'm assuming that you do, but is there any other social media that you also use?
Yeah, as far as what I'm using right now, I started on Snapchat, giving previews of my new listings and, basically moments in the life of a top producing agent. I found that you would get people looking at it, but it was eating up my data, and it was too much time for me. I don't want to focus on getting attached to my phone and shooting videos like that. So I ended up getting rid of that thing altogether just because it was killing my data, and I wasn't seeing the results out of it. You would see people looking at your post, but they're not really prospect buyers or sellers. LinkedIn has been pretty effective for me, and I've had a huge presence on that. But yeah, I would say Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but I'm currently dying to find the next thing because I always find, even when Facebook started, I right away was hammering trying to get as many interactions as I can to build a presence, and I'm looking for the next wave because Facebook, believe it or not, the majority of the leads that I get are 35 and up. A lot of people who are retirees that are sitting there looking at photos and they're retired, they have family that they keep in contact with. They're always there looking through what we're doing. My generation, I'm seeing a lot of Instagram now. So Instagram is something that I have to brush up on how to edit videos better and, how I can leverage myself better on that platform.
Bit of a shameless plug for Instagram. If you go to Rise, so rise.remaxintegra.com, there's a Remax Integra Live quick tips episode with Ravi Singh, and it's just half an hour of him and I speaking about how he used Instagram to generate business. I think he got 7 deals off of it last year, nice. just off Instagram. So it's on Rise if you want to go check it out. Just search for Remax Integra Live quick tips.
Wow. What is it? Have you guys heard of any new platforms that have been?
The newest one right now is Periscope.
What?
Periscope. So it's kind of comes off of Twitter a bit, and it's basically live streaming video. So it's a live one. It'd be kind of like this, except it's on your phone. So you could be doing live previews of homes. I see like live Q&As. But it's only been out maybe a month, maybe a little bit more than that now. So people are still kind of figuring out how it works. The audience is still growing, so you still find a lot of people just testing different things out to see what works the best. But I have seen quite a few agents trying it out.
Yeah, I see WhatsApp that works a lot too, just as far as if I'm sitting and I have 15 minutes, I'm in my car and I have an appointment coming up, I'll look through my contacts. I save almost every lead that I get. So I'll meet somebody. The guy came to my open house yesterday, and I haven't seen this guy in 2.5 years. And as soon as I seen him, his face looked familiar, and I looked through my phone, I looked up the name that I thought it was, and it said his name and the street that he lives on, and I said, Dan, you still on Arlington? He looked at me, he's like, man, I thought you looked familiar. I said, yeah. He's like, how the heck do you remember that? But I save everything in my phone. So I have a stupid amount of email contacts and my phone contacts for cell numbers. So what I do is I go on WhatsApp and I'll look at who is connected to WhatsApp, and you can easily keep in touch with them. So if you know them on a social level, you can always try to prospect them. I prospect my client database, and I do it fairly decent, I think. But what I do is I just try to connect with people that aren't doing business with me yet, and just even spark up conversations with them and touch base with them, reminisce even. So I find any way you can connect with somebody, text message, going to a coffee shop, and instead of going through the drive-through, you walk in, so hopefully you can see and talk to people. But WhatsApp is like a really good app if you guys don't have it. It's free with Wi-Fi, text messaging and video sends and image sends. So if you have clients from abroad or even a different marketplace, you can keep in touch with them. And I have chat groups with other agents in the GTA area and out west. So we keep in touch and we'll share stories or share concepts that work for us.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to Facebook Messenger, but without being on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Shannon, how about you? Do you use any other type of social media besides Facebook?
We just started using Pinterest, which we've had some success with. It seems to be a very popular platform, and we put different pictures from our listings and then drive the traffic to our website. We've seen a large increase in traffic to our website since starting Pinterest. We've had several log in. So I really, really like that one. Other than Facebook, that's really the only one I use. I don't use Instagram. I've also had some success from LinkedIn. I really like that. I think it's important to get recommendations and feedback on your LinkedIn page, as well as, obviously your Julia and things like that. But that's the only other social media sites that I've gained some traction from.
Okay, great. Do either of you use a YouTube channel?
I do not.
I'm in the process of beginning some short videos, profile videos throughout the community. So I'll be utilizing that more, just because I like how you can incorporate it on social platforms. And when you're going through your phone, the videos just start people. So a lot of people are curious, and after a few moments they'll end up watching your video. So the impressions, in my opinion, that's a positive part. So I'll be doing more on YouTube and then Google AdWords. And I'm finding also, sat down with somebody who's bringing up doing like a Yelp presence. So having people suggest you as a professional and leave recommendation to optimize your search engine presence is also a benefit. So if you look at somebody who's got, I've used things like that where you can rate me or recommend me. But as far as something that's a little recognizing, Yelp is a really good search engine, and people can see, okay, well, like going to a restaurant. If I'm going to Toronto, I want to know an Italian restaurant and it has good pasta. So if I'm in Windsor, or if I'm not in Windsor, and I want to find somebody who is reputable and a good agent in that marketplace, if they search you, then they'll see that, okay, this person has 96 reviews and is a 5-star. He's a realtor, he's not a restaurant. So if you can get your clients to do that for you and give you a recommendation, that's something else that I'm going to be doing as well. And I thought it was actually a pretty good idea, because I always look at what other people are citing or and saying how their experience was. So if you can give something like that, Yelp is just another platform. So the more you're specified online, in your personal brand, I think that people recognize that. They'll see you everywhere, and hopefully be the realtor of choice.
One nice thing about Yelp, at least in Canada, that's actually what Siri uses to figure out things. So if you ask a question, so if you use Siri and ask who's the best real estate agent in your town, it's actually going to base it based on Yelp reviews.
Okay, let's not give these guys any more ideas, because people might be watching in winter.
It worked for me because I was the only one in my town on Yelp. So if you asked who was the best, it showed Andrew with 0 reviews. There's no one else on it.
I like that.
It works that way here too. So.
Yep.
I like that.
Yelp in the States too?
Yes, we do. Siri and Yelp work together.
Yeah.
Are a lot of realtors using it down there?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
There are.
Damn, I thought I just found something new. You're doing this already?
I was on it 3 years ago.
Well, we'll let you know.
You're the first in Windsor, though. Yeah, a little smaller. All right, well, that about wraps it up. We don't have too many other questions left, so we're going to wrap it up here. I just want to say thank you guys for joining us today. Before I get you to remind everyone where you can send your referrals, this is going to be the last episode of RE/MAX INTEGRA Live until September. We're kind of taking the summer off. We're instead going to be doing Camp RE/MAX. So if you guys aren't sure what that is or you want to log on, go to facebook.com/Camp RE/MAX. It's once a week, a 20-minute webinar on different topics. It's going to be a really good 8 weeks. It's with the entire training team. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and people from all over the world join it. So it's a great opportunity to network with people from all around the world, especially on Twitter and Facebook. Last year, I think we had over like 15 countries joining in. It was live translated into different languages as we were going. So it's a really cool way to network with RE/MAX people around the world. So facebook.com/Camp RE/MAX. And then we'll be back in September 14th for our next episode of RI Live on objection handling. But before we wrap up, I just wanted to say, Brady, could you remind them if they have referrals for your area, so remind them where you work and where to send them.
Okay, I'm definitely open to any and all referrals. I am located in Windsor, Ontario, and that surrounding area, and we are known to have the most valuable prices right now in the market as far as across Canada, actually. So we have our prices here in Windsor are extremely low compared to other areas in the county. In the country. So if you can, any referrals at all, you can even text me 519-819-5965, or you can call me at my office number 736-1766. But I'm available on social media, so just follow me and touch base with me, and I would love to work with you.
Sounds good. How about you, Shannon?
I am based out of Minnesota, and we say from the cities to the suburbs, we'd be happy to service your referrals. You can find me. My website is searchforhomesminnesota.com. Otherwise, you can email me at shannonbrooks@remax.net. So, and I would love to be introduced to some RE/MAX agents because I came from a previous company, so I don't have a lot of referrals within the RE/MAX area. Company. So I would love to meet you. So please introduce yourself so we can send referrals both ways.
Sounds good. I'll tag you both into a post on Facebook, and I'll get, in case people don't have you guys yet on Facebook, I'll tag them soon. They've already been tagged a few times if you go back through my timeline, but I'll do it again so you can see that's where they are too. Anyways, Chris, would you like to say anything before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's it. But thank you so much, Shannon and Brady. So we want to make sure that.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Chrissy.
Perfect, guys. Thanks for tuning in today, and see you guys at Camp RE/MAX this summer, and then back in September for our next episode.